Thank you, Mr. Chair. My amendment would exclude the Southern California planning area from being leased for oil and gas production as part of any proposed plan under this bill. It's just over 1 year ago that our community experienced an oil spill that posed a grave ecological disaster that devastated local wildlife, our coasts and our ocean, and small business owners who rely on our coastal activity for their livelihoods. This kind of disaster is exactly why I introduced my American Coasts and Oceans Protection Act to prohibit any new leasing for the exploration, development, or production of oil or natural gas along the Southern California coast, from San Diego up to San Luis Obispo. As I said when I introduced the bill last Congress, it's time to put our environment and our coastal economy first, not the out-of-state fossil fuel companies that profit while polluting our coastline. It's also important to note that our Southern California economy relies heavily on ocean-based businesses. In San Diego and Orange County alone, the ocean economy accounts for roughly $7.7 billion in economic activity and sustains more than 140,000 jobs in coastal tourism and recreation. Along California's coastline, fishing, tourism, and recreation supports nearly 600,000 jobs and roughly $42.3 billion in economic activity. So for every massive oil spill our region experiences, we are not only adding to the pollution of our oceans, but also directly jeopardizing thousands of jobs. Mr. Chair, the latest oil spill wasn't the first time our communities experienced such a disaster. More than 4 million gallons of oil have been released in the Pacific Ocean as a result of the 1969 Santa Barbara blowout. The Refugio oil spill of 2015 and other leaks from oil rig and pipeline activity affecting more than 935 square miles of ocean. And this most recent spill pushed that number even higher. Californians have made it clear that they're strongly opposed to additional offshore oil and gas drilling along our coast. The last administration repeatedly pushed to expand offshore drilling and rolled back crucial safety regulations that help prevent spills. And now here we are once again as big oil seeks to expand drilling off our coast, even as they sit on thousands of unused permits across the country. With so much ecological disaster and so many jobs threatened by offshore drilling, Southern Californians have had enough. We need to be focusing instead on cutting emissions and protecting coastal communities from rising sea levels, not extracting more oil so that fossil fuel executives can profit even more. Just yesterday, Chevron announced that it was tripling its stock buyback program to $75 billion while reporting record profits. How much profit do they really need? The reality is we need to end all new offshore oil and gas leasing in Southern California, off the Pacific coast and beyond. This amendment represents a start to making that happen. I urge my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to support this amendment and respect the will of the vast majority of Californians, Republicans, Democrats, and independents alike, who oppose drilling off our coasts. Mr. Chair, I yield back.